You're in your waiting season. You know, since you're single right now, you're in a waiting season. What would you do with your single season? You're in a waiting season. Make use of your waiting season. I think when I was in my 20s, I was advised to save a lot of things for marriage. And I'm talking outside of like abstinence and physical activity. I'm talking about, when a lot of my friends would talk about purchasing homes, there's this thing in the background where we were advising you that, oh, don't buy, because what if your husband lives somewhere else? What if, when you are thinking of a job, you have to think of places where men will be, because, you are going to get married. There is a lot of advice that they give to women when they're younger, where people are implying that you have to build your life in such a way that you are preparing yourself so that when a man somewhere finds you, you're ready to just attach to him. In fact, I think there is this messaging where you are being primed to be detachable. You're not supposed to plant certain roots. If you're a woman of a certain age, why would you buy a house and enter into a 30-year mortgage when you don't have a husband? What if your husband's home is 5 states away? What if your husband is in Australia? You are supposed to make yourself movable, transportable, according to this advice. Most times they're preaching to women to be in a waiting season where they're just holding themselves, waiting for what? There was a time years ago when I wanted to take my first solo trip. I'll never forget, relatives were confused. I actually was in a relationship, and the person I was seeing decided that it wasn't a priority for us to go on vacation, even though I had communicated that I really needed a vacation. And one day something snapped in my brain. I was 27. I was like, I need a vacation. I don't have time to find people to go with me, so I'm just gonna take it. And I remember people were baffled. They were befuddled. They were like, so you're just gonna travel by yourself? But why don't you wait for him? Why don't you wait for him to have time? And as I've gotten older, I'm like, wait for what? Wait for what? I continuously have beef with the waiting season analogy / metaphor that is being preached to young women. My life right now, while it is not yet partnered, is still a full life. It's not a life that's dangling and waiting for it to be attached. The life is so full, it's a fully formed life. It has roots, it has limbs, and most importantly, it has a calling and it has a purpose. It has a purpose outside of finding a man. I'm gonna get one, eventually. And then, even on a side note, the whole waiting season thing is a very interesting situation, because it's not like I haven't had an opportunity to leave the waiting room. I've weighed the options and I decided I'm just gonna stay here and live my life as a single. I don't understand why that has to be characterized with the waiting room analogy. When I think of a waiting room, one waiting room that comes to mind is the waiting room in an office. You've just completed an interview. You're waiting to hear back. You're in a waiting room. You're supposed to be anticipating a decision that can make or break you depending on how important the decision is. A waiting room in a hospital. Typically, if you are in a waiting room for a hospital, you are in a holding pattern waiting to hear something that's going to determine a myriad of things in your life. For my entire life, because I'm not partnered to be characterized by that analogy, that people tend to imply that there are certain things I should not do, I should not conceive, I should not indulge in, I should not venture into, because I'm in a waiting pattern. Why would you purchase that property if you don't have a husband yet? What if your husband wants to live somewhere? It's just, I find myself rambling a little bit, I apologize, but the main message for today is that my life is not a waiting pattern. No woman's life is supposed to be a waiting pattern, a waiting place. There's so much life to be lived. There's so much life to be explored. And of course, it would be great to have a partner by your side. But if you don't even have a life that you've built, then what are you using the life partner for? Is the life partner just, is the life partner just like this magical person that comes and turns your life into magic? I mean, nobody can even do that. You are the one that's been given life and breath by God. So you are the one that has to go out and live your life. So if you're someone who likes to encourage single people by saying, this year, while you are in your waiting season, please, it's actually very okay. It's not a waiting season, whatever. It's actually just life that's to be lived. And it's okay. There's this thing where we try to be really, really fake deep when it comes to singles. And then the other thing I want to say about this whole waiting room discussion, maybe it's a topic we'll tackle at another day, but there is a tendency to sometimes infantilize single people's lives. So because I'm not a wife yet and I don't have kids yet, it's almost as if some of the things I have going on cannot be that serious. I possibly cannot be going through something so serious that would require so much energy. A good example is one of my single friends. He was telling me how he had attended an event, and at the event were his other friends that have children, and he happened to doze off on a couch somewhere, and the friend woke him up like, "Why are you sleeping off?" And he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired." And the friend said, "Psh, but you don't have any kids. Why are you tired?" And it's like, what do you think is going? So because I'm not partnered and I don't have kids, are you thinking that my life cannot be so full and busy that I can be as tired as you? It's like outside of children and a partner, people fill their lives in other ways. Life is to be lived and filled by other things, even when you may not be in a marital situation. If you do not have a spouse or if you do not have kids, there's actually things to do, you know? So this is the little chit chat with Rennie I had for today. That whole waiting season thing, singles, while you're waiting, is even actually okay. We're not waiting, we're expecting, we're anticipating, we're hoping. But you know what? We're not sitting down folding our arms thinking, I'm just waiting. There's a lot of life to be lived as a single, yes. So I don't know, that form of encouragement, it's all right. We can leave that in the back. Thanks for joining me.